This is companion video number 21 for iFeelagrams for iPad, iOS8, the iBooks store. Unlike the iTunes and App Stores, the iBooks store is integrated into the iBooks app. When iBooks opens, what you see will depend on the tabs selected from the row of 5 tabs across the bottom. Selecting My Books will display a list of your books with slightly different controls, which we will demonstrate in video number 22. Selecting any of the other 4 tabs, Featured, Top Charts, Top Authors, or Purchased, will take you to the respective screens in the iBooks store. You can also access the iBooks opening screen by double-tapping the Library button, which appears in the top left-hand corner of any book screen. The 4 iBooks store screens have a Categories button at the top left-hand corner listed as VU in the iFeelagram, which allows you to review a categories pop-up which works in the same way as those in the apps and iTunes stores. The default category is Books, which appears in the heading. Again, the search field is in the top right-hand corner. To explore iBooks store screens, the easiest way is to select Headings from the rotor and then flick up and down through the category headings. Flick right to hear the choices within each category heading. Of course, you may also explore the screen by dragging, but remember that some of them are quite busy with rather complicated formatting. But by now, you are hopefully familiar with the other stores, so that exploring this one won't be so difficult, other than dealing with its integration into the iBooks app. So, explore the iFeelagram, and we'll take the iPad tour. So let's open the iBooks app.
App Store, iBooks.
There we go.
iBooks, Books, Categories, button.
So it opened iBooks, it read the Books category from the heading, and placed us on the Categories button.
Categories, button.
There we are.
Books, heading.
There's the Books heading.
Search field.
And the search field in the top right. So let's find headings. We'll do clockwise.
Braille screen input, port, headings.
There we are. I had to do a counterclockwise one to get it. And let's flick down through the headings.
New and notable, heading. Browse categories, heading. Nouveaux livres, heading.
I think that's Nouveau Libre in French.
What's hot this week, heading. Buzz Books, heading.
Okay, so we have several headings. I'm going to put my finger up at the top again.
Si vous m'embrassez, categories, button.
There.
Books, heading.
Now we're right at the top. Books.
What's hot this week, heading.
There, now we're in the right order.
Buzz Books, heading.
So let's flick up and see what is hot this week.
What's hot this week, heading.
And I'll flick right to see what is under this category heading.
Book of the week, button. Giller Prize, winner just announced, button. First in a series, mysteries and thrillers, button.
Now there is a Browse Categories heading on the main page, but I think the more user-friendly way to do this is to actually go up to the Categories button at the top.
Gabriel Ang. Books, categories, button.
And press that to bring up the pop-up. Let's see.
Dismiss pop-up.
There it is. Where is it?
Cancel, button. Categories, heading.
There we are. We have our categories heading, so there are many of them.
Livres and Français, mysteries and thrillers, arts and entertainment, biographies and memoirs, business and personal finance.
All sorts of stuff. I'd like to
Page 2 of 3.
What we
Page
have
3
in
of 3.
science
Romance.
fiction, so I did a 3-finger flick up twice to get to page 3 in this list of categories.
Page 3 of 3. Middle left side, half width of screen.
That was a triple finger single tap.
Sci-fi and fantasy.
Here we are. Sci-fi and fantasy. I'm going to double tap that.
Sci-fi and fantasy. Categories, button.
So now we can do our usual. Let's see what the heading gives us.
Sci-fi and fantasy. Head. Recent releases. Head. Book bundles. 99 cents. Notable books. Heading.
See, this flicking through the headings gives you a really good idea of things that are available that if you tried to drag about the screen and look for them, you might not necessarily find.
Sci-fi and fantasy under $5. Heading.
Oh, that sounds good. Let's see what we have.
See all. Button. Wolf of Stone. Quinn Loftus. Button. Alpha Divided. Aileen Aaron. Button.
Okay, so there's all sorts of books we can choose there. Now, we have this category set to sci-fi, so this category is going to apply to any of the other tabs at the bottom. So, for example,
Selected. Featured. Tab. 2 of 5.
we're still in featured. I'd like to check out authors under sci-fi and fantasy.
Top charts. Tab. 3 of 5. Top authors. Tab. 4 of 5.
So that category is in effect, and let's see who its top authors are. I'm going to double tap this fourth tab. Well, it didn't say anything, did it?
Top authors. Heading.
But top authors is now in the heading at the top.
Categories. Button.
And I could go back to the categories. I don't want to.
Top authors. Heading.
What do I get if I do a flick down through the headings now?
Capital A. Heading. Capital B. Heading. Capital C. Heading.
Oh, we can look through by alphabetical order. So let's flick back up to A.
Capital A. Heading.
And let's put our finger on the screen and see who the A authors are.
AA World Services. I. Charlotte Abel. Lara Adrian. L. Magda Alexander. Mercy Ammer. Natalie Anderson.
Okay, the authors appear on the left.
Orguil. Natalie
and
Anderson.
there's a split screen down the middle, a vertical split, like that.
Liliana and Natalie Anderson.
So if I double tap her name on the left,
Natalie Anderson.
I can now look over at the right and see the books in the right half of the screen. Let's check.
$3.99. Breathe for Me. Be for Me 1. Xander. Natalie Anderson. Nice Girls Finish Last. Natalie Anderson. November 1st, 2011. Preview Nice Girls Finish Last.
So
Natalie
to the left
Anderson.
of each title,
November
you can
1st,
preview it.
2011. Nice Girls Finish Last.
And to
Natalie
the right
Anderson.
of each title
November 1st, $3.99.
is a price.
Button. Nice Girls Finish. Taming His Tutor. Natalie Anderson. Preview Taming His Tutor.
Yep, that
Taming
was to
His
the
Tutor.
left, and the
Natalie
price
Anderson. $3.99.
is to the right. What
Button.
happens if we flick through all this? I'm going to start at the top again and just see the difference.
Breathe for Me. Be for Preview Breathe for Me. $3.99. Nice Girls Finish Last. Preview Nice Girls Finish Last. $3.99.
Now there's
Button.
a very interesting thing. The flick order is different. When you're flicking, you get the title, the preview, and the price. But if you drag around and explore the screen, you find out that the preview is to the left of the title and the price is to the right of the title. So here's actually a situation where dragging is probably going to be quicker, because if you flick, you'll have to listen to
Opage due date. Preview Opage. $3. Taming His Preview Taming. $3. Baird for Me. Be for Me. Rocco.
Whereas if you just want to go through the titles, you find where they are on the screen.
Preview Breathe for Me. Be for Me. Nice Girls Finish Last.
Okay, and now
Natalie
we
Anderson.
go straight
November
down.
1st. Opage due Dacer. Taming His Tutor. Baird for Me. Be for Me. British Bachelors and Conveniently Bedded Bundle. Helen Brooks. Anna
Well,
Clear.
all sorts of fun and interesting things. But you see, dragging gives you the information one way, and flicking gives it to you another way. And while sometimes it's very complicated to drag around the screen and look for things, there are other times, for example, in these lists of authors, where just finding the column where they are and dragging your finger straight down the screen is much quicker. So I always say it's good to have an interchangeable exploration of flicking and dragging, because it's the two of them together that give you a total picture of what is happening on your screen. Now, the top charts just work like they did in the other apps.
Top authors. Selected. Purchased. Top charts. Tab. 3 of 5.
If we double tap it
Select.
and have a look at the top,
Categories. Button.
we have our categories button.
Top charts. Heading.
Sure enough, top charts is in the heading, and if we just drag our finger down the left side,
1. Poles Apart. 2. Wrapped in You. 3. Captivated by You. Sylvia Day. 4. The Burning Room.
so there we have categories. They're the same as they were in the App Store, in the iTunes Store. What is different here is
Purchased. 1 item. Tab. 5 of 5.
there, I double tapped it. Let's see what we have at the top.
Talking to Siri Erica's. My purchases. Button.
My purchases. Okay, VoiceOver, we need to get you a dictionary. What happens in purchases is that all the books you've bought are here.
Downloaded. iPhone user guide. iPhone user guide for iOS 8.1 Apple Inc. Downloaded. iPhone user guide for iOS 8.
So it's downloaded. But there are some interesting things you can do in book purchases, so you should check fairly often. For example, I thought I had the iPad user guide for iOS 8, but
iPad user guide for iOS 8.1 Apple Inc. Link. Use the rotor to access links, notes, headers.
But if I look to the right of this book title,
Update. iPad user guide for iOS 8.1. Button.
I guess they have updated it for 8.1 from 8.0, so I'm going to push this download button so I can update my book.
Update. iPad user guide for iOS. Downloading. iPad user guide for iOS 8.1. Dimmed. Button.
And there it is. It's downloading.
Downloaded. iPad user guide for iOS 8.1. Dimmed. Button.
And it's finished. Now what do we have on our screen?
I see David Wood. iPad user guide for iOS 8.1 Apple Inc. Link. Downloaded. iPad user guide for iOS 8.1.
So there we have our updated iPad 8.1 manual. And that's about it for our brief tour of the iBooks store. We hope you'll join us in video number 22, where we take a closer look at the iBooks library.